And now more updates trickling in. We are getting in visuals of opposition MPs staging protest in the Parliament premises over the MGNREGA rebranding. That row continues. Remember, the session went up to wee hours of the night yesterday, and now another protest by the opposition MPs in the Parliament premises over the renaming of the MGNREGA. They are calling it the rebranding of MGNREGA, removing the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, and that protest by the opposition continues. My colleague Arunima with all the details. Arunima, take us through all that is happening there. Arunima, if you can hear me, what all has happened so far? We are seeing how the protests by the opposition MPs continue in the Parliament premises. Yesterday, the Congress had sent out a whip to its MPs, and today the protests continue.
Yes, apologies. I just got distracted because Lok Sabha has just assembled and the Speaker is addressing the House. The opposition is up in arms that even after such a long discussion that happened late into the night yesterday, opposition is upset that you are taking away the name of Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi ji ka ye apman nahi sahega Hindustan was their slogan as they marched from Prerna Sthal, where Mahatma Gandhi's statue is in the Parliament premises, right up to the Makar Dwar, which is the main entrance in the new Parliament building that takes you towards Lok Sabha. So their protests are on two counts. One, dropping of Mahatma Gandhi's name from the scheme. Second, by increasing the burden on the state government, you are essentially striking the death knell for this rural job guarantee. So on these counts, they're continuing to protest against this bill. They wanted this bill to go to the standing committee, but it looks very unlikely. Lok Sabha Speaker is addressing the House as I'm speaking to you. And at the end of the question hour, Shivraj Singh Chauhan is expected to reply, and then the bill gets passed in Lok Sabha.
Right, Arunima, thank you so much for all of those details and updates there. Let's take a look at ground reports that have been filed by our colleagues Pallavi and Arunima and the others.
MGNREGA was a flagship program of the UPA and it finally sees a closure. That's what the opposition parties are alleging. They have two main reasons why they are objecting to it. One, of course, is the fact that why is the name being changed, and therefore it is against the Mahatma. You can see those protests which are taking place where they are demanding that the bill should be returned. And the second objection is they feel that the daily wage earners, which the bill was ensuring, that has now been compromised. And they are, while the government and the BJP's pitch really has been to this, is that the opposition parties are anti-Ram because the name of the bill, which really makes it better for the wage earners, is Ji Ram Ji, and therefore the opposition parties, particularly Congress, has an anti-Hindu mindset. So these are the big issues which are being raised at this protest which is taking place. You can see those pictures right behind me as we come to you from this march from the Gandhi statue to the Makar Dwar.
This is the most imbecile and obtuse statement which anyone could have given, saying that we are against Ram. In fact, they are against Ram. They are against Lord Ram because they are making a distinction or trying to create a distinction between Mahatma Gandhi and Lord Ram. You know, what was the point in renaming this scheme? Because when Mahatma Gandhi was gunned down by a bigot who unfortunately had affiliations with the extreme right-wing fringe, the last words that he uttered were "Hey Ram." So what is the government trying to achieve? I mean, except for possibly trying to further their design of polarization, which has been the sine qua non of their 11 years of governance. There's nothing else, and the bill, in fact, takes away the guarantee of employment. So therefore, if you read the fine print of the bill, there is no guarantee of employment or guaranteed employment left.
सिचुएशन बना के रखी हुई है, यही गुंडागर्दी और यही हम परेशान हैं। जब से हम नए सांसद जब से आए हुए हैं तब से यही गुंडागर्दी देख रहे हैं।
वो कह रहे हैं कि ये महात्मा गांधी का नाम हटा दिया गया। महात्मा गांधी जी का नाम हटाया गया।
ये जो है पहले भी नाम बदले गए हुए हैं। जवाहरलाल नेहरू के भी जो स्कीम्स थे उनके कांग्रेस ने खुद उनके नाम जो है वो अपग्रेड करे हुए हैं। और जैसे वक्त वक्त बदलता है, जैसे लोगों को सुविधाएं होती हैं, जैसे जो पूरी उसकी एक अपग्रेड कह लीजिए या किसी तरह से इसमें सुधार लाए जाते हैं, तो उसको एक न्यूनता देने के लिए, नूतनता देने के लिए जो है इस तरह के प्रभावशाली काम सरकार करती है। तो क्या कोई गलत नाम रखा क्या? ये गलत बात है।
Let me take this across to my colleague Pallavi now, who's joining us. Pallavi, the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, is being dissected. Opposition MPs crying foul over this entire rebranding of MGNREGA.
Well, I don't know if he put out those pictures, but if you look at one of the main faces who was also protesting at the Makar Dar was that of Sonia Gandhi. I still remember she was the head of the National Advisory Council, and she was the one who wanted this idea of MGNREGA, which was, of course, had a different name. And her whole idea was that as far as the wage earners are concerned, they must be getting a certain amount of money because that's their right and that's how their sustenance comes across. I think the Congress party is a big agitation today, as they would want to call it. Their opposition to this new bill is precisely dates back to the fact that Congress and particularly Sonia Gandhi see this as their flagship contribution.
Okay, some problem with that link of Pallavi's. Let's take a look at some more ground reports that Pallavi and Arunima have filed for us from the Parliament premises.
Sir, viewers of CNN News 18 want to know what is your protest against the Ramji bill?
महात्मा गांधी का नाम हटाया जाना, प्रदेश की हिस्सेदारी बढ़ाया जाना, दिन की जो उद्देश्य था वो सब।
But sir, government is also saying that Ram Rajya was something that Mahatma Gandhi dreamt of.
अब तो रामराज रहे, गांधी का नाम हटा के रामराज लाएंगे।
What's your protest about? What are you objecting to?
The protest is about this Mahatma Gandhi. He has been eliminated, erased from one of the premium programs which gave labor to crores and crores of people. And that too in the name of Ram. Ram would never love to have his name being added to something where Mahatma is being erased or eliminated. This is the second assassination of Mahatma Gandhi that is happening. Now this scheme which gave dignity and labor as a right for the workers have been literally wound up now. The burden is being passed on the states means they want to wind up the program. And crores of people would be on the street now. We are on the protest path of agitation. The whole nation is in protest.
के ऊपर ये आरोप लगाया जा रहा है कि आप राम के नाम का विरोध कर रहे हैं।
राम का कोई विरोध नहीं है। राम के नाम पे कोई राजनीति करता है, राम के नाम पे कोई व्यापार करता है तो दूसरी कोई पार्टी नहीं है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी है। और राम के तो विरोधी हैं। सदन में देख सकते हैं गोविल जी जो राम का रामायण में पाठ कर रहे थे, रोल कर रहे थे, उनको कहाँ बैठाया जाता है? उनको पीछे बैठाया जाता है। उनको तो अगली कतार में बैठाना चाहिए। तो राम का तो अपमान करने वाले लोग हैं। राम का अपमान हम लोग सम्मान करते हैं, ये राजनीति करते हैं राम के नाम पर। हाँ, राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी के नाम को हटाना ये राष्ट्र का अपमान है, बापू का अपमान नहीं है बल्कि राष्ट्र का अपमान है और देश की आज़ादी का अपमान है।
Let's now talk about the apocalyptic air that Delhi is breathing for some time now. So it continues to reel under this toxic mix of smog and dense fog, and early this morning Delhiites woke up to it. Visuals from various parts of the capital show a thick haze blanketing the national capital. Air quality remains in the poor to very poor category as per the CPCB. In response, the Commission for the Air Quality Management has enforced all curbs under GRAP Stage 4 across Delhi NCR. Dense fog has also hit the visibility and transport. An orange alert for fog remains in place till this morning. It was in place till about 9:30 this morning. Visibility dropped to, remember, 150 meters at the Palam airport and 200 meters at the Safdarjung earlier in the morning, forcing flight operations under Cat 3 conditions, raising the likelihood of delays and disruptions. Rail traffic has also been impacted, with at least 22 trains running late at the New Delhi railway station. Now, political bickering over this entire matter refuses to die down, with BJP now trying to shift this entire blame on the former Aam Aadmi Party government in the national capital for this pollution mess, the air quality deterioration. Meanwhile, noting that China and India know the struggle with air pollution, the Chinese embassy has offered help to Delhi by posting a step-by-step guide on how Beijing came out of the crisis. Let's now take a look at this blanket ban on non-BS6 vehicles that has left many middle-class commuters in a lurch in the national capital. Remember, Delhi fragmented city. It is part of a unit which is called the National Capital Region, with Noida, Ghaziabad and Gurgaon that's part of it. But those cars with Haryana or Uttar Pradesh registration will now be left out. This ban is expected to impact a significant number of vehicles that routinely cross into Delhi for work, business or personal reasons. Now, according to the estimates, within the NCR, Gurgaon has, remember, and this is the number that we'd like to note down for our viewers, over 2 lakh non-BS6 vehicles, which will thoroughly be impacted. Noida has more than 4 lakh such vehicles, and Ghaziabad has around 5.5 lakh affected vehicles and commuters. So all of this is going to be leaving many people who either commute into Delhi and out of Delhi in a lurch, do not belong to Delhi, possibly are residing in UP, in Noida particularly, or Gurgaon, has the number plates, whether it is an HR or a UP16 number plate or a HR26 number plate, that will have problems now getting into the national capital. And that is what the worry really is all about, because there have been these major impositions under GRAP 4 that have now been put in place very, very sternly. Remember, if you reside in the national capital region, we all woke up to this thick blanket of smog plus fog. People would think that the temperatures have gone down considerably, considering we are talking about 18th of December, the cold had not yet begun to set in. That is the first impression that one gets. But right now, what we are seeing is smog mixed with that fog. Temperatures do get down a bit, but visibility have been severely impacted, and that has led to the flight operations, even the trains that have gotten delayed because of this situation. The transport, the daily commute, particularly people who go into work early in the morning before 9:30 a.m., all of that stands impacted. All the commuters on the road have been impacted because the visibility, remember, was reduced to 150 meters because of this thick blanket of smog and fog together. So all of this is, in fact, adding to the worry. Parliamentarians have discussed this for a while. There has been a lengthy discussion. The BJP government in the national capital right now is trying to hold the previous Aam Aadmi Party government accountable. They are saying that they cannot, in fact, correct the wrong that has been done by the previous government in just 8 months. And to that, there is a political bickering, blame game that continues between not just the AAP and the Bharatiya Janata Party, but the other opposition parties as well that are going on to blame the government at the centre, or this double-engine sarkar where the BJP now is in power in the national capital region, in Delhi as well, of this entire growing mess of the toxic air. To add to the woes, the Delhi Chief Minister is not really helping matter. Certain things that she has said when it is about AQI is not going down well for the Bharatiya Janata Party government. And this is what is looking like they're not really very serious about this entire pollution crisis. Right now, the implementation of GRAP 4 remains in place, and there are strict implementations. If you do not have a PUC, you would not be allowed any fuel for your car. And there will be severe checks and balances that will be in place. But still, compliance becomes a big worry. What really happens about complying with this GRAP 4 imposition is also something that we'd like to routinely look at, and which is why we have our reporters, our colleagues who are constantly on the ground tracking all of these developments. We have our colleague Akash Sharma now joining us on the broadcast. Akash, I have just laid out a detailed report of what you guys have been presenting for us. This morning, all of us woke up to this thick blanket of smog plus fog and severe implementations of GRAP 4. But compliance still remains a big worry for the Delhi government.
Oh yes, Griha, first of all, the condition is worrisome, not because of the AQI only, but also because of the fog, as you rightly pointed out, and it's a smog that Delhi is dealing with. And in the morning today, visibility was as low as 100 meters in many areas. And pollution has become a cause of problem also because of the fact that, we have government that had made several sort of claims earlier and has failed in a way to control the increasing levels. And right now, yes, GRAP 4 has been implemented, but then we are seeing politics as well, where the current Delhi government, the BJP government, is saying that 8 months or 9 months period is not enough. And this is the reason why we have seen a press conference by PWD Minister Pravesh Verma, and he is pointing out as to what is the kind of work that he has done in the last few months. But that work is not enough, and we all understand that. On the other hand, we have Aam Aadmi Party that is constantly blaming Bharatiya Janata Party-led government here in the national capital, because they say that earlier you used to say that we are not doing enough work, and that's why we are responsible for the sort of pollution problem we have. But what you are doing now, and right now we are seeing a political game where it's a tug of war kind of situation between Aam Aadmi Party and Bharatiya Janata Party.
Well, absolutely, Akash. Do stay on with us. We also have Pallavi Ghosh now joining us on the broadcast. Pallavi, the Parliament has discussed this at length, and yet the bickering doesn't stop. BJP ends up blaming the erstwhile Aam Aadmi Party government in the national capital, and that's why the entire opposition is upon them.
Yes, absolutely. And the point over here, Griha, is that that's the point which the BJP is making, that when the Aam Aadmi Party was in power at the Delhi government, why is it then that the Congress party was not making pollution a big issue? Because there was parali burning or the stubble burning happening at that point of time, but Congress was briefly in power in Punjab, and therefore at that time, the Congress did not want to make it a big issue. So there's a full-on politics, as we've been reporting, and Payal has been putting in the details. Post-lunch at around 2 p.m. is a discussion going to take on pollution. And Rahul Gandhi had taken the initiative to say that these are not ideological issues. We need to put our heads together, and it should not be government versus opposition on this. Unfortunately, Griha, that's not really the case. You are seeing the opposition parties, especially the Congress and AAP, are now taking pot shots at the Delhi government and at the central government, also saying that the Prime Minister has not come out with a plan. Well, we'll get to know what plan the government mulls beyond what has been announced for the Delhi government, but clearly the blame game is not over.
Absolutely, Pallavi. Do stay on with us. We need your inputs on this next story also, and this is to do with pollution. It has ended up impacting the 4th T20 international match. So the torch for the 4th T20I of the 5-match series between India and South Africa at the Bharat Ratna Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee Cricket Stadium in Lucknow, that was supposed to take place on Wednesday, was delayed. Authorities said that it was due to fog, with the white ball proving hard to spot. But it is not, in fact, fog. It was the smog that was a major cause of concern, and which is what had ended up delaying that match. In fact, Hardik Pandya was seen on the field wearing a mask just a few minutes before the match was supposed to start. Pallavi, Indian players too are reeling under the impact. In fact, players in general, we were discussing when Messi comes to India, whether he'd be sporting that mask because the pollution crisis is real, particularly in the national capital. Now we see a match very close to Delhi, that is in Lucknow, that has gotten delayed because of smog. Players seen sporting masks. What is really going on? What is the UP and the Delhi government, both BJP governments, really planning on doing about this crisis?
Is being raised by someone like a Shashi Tharoor, who tweeted yesterday to say that a match should actually have been held in Thiruvananthapuram because the AQI is very, very low over there, even less than 100. Akhilesh Yadav, Samajwadi Party chief, also making the point that this is really shameful. Isn't this a kind of a diplomatic setback? Because you have international players coming in and then the matches are being delayed because clearly the government is not able to do so. And when we were talking about politics being played over the pollution issue, this is exactly what we were talking about a short while back. As our netas are going to put their heads together, discuss the pollution issue, and frankly speaking, tomorrow is the last day of Parliament. And, it's just 24 hours left to go for this session to end. And it's taken such a long time for our netas to even put this up for discussion. I wouldn't be too surprised, Griha, if on the floor of the House, you're going to see the government and the opposition party at loggerheads with each other. But for now, yes, Shashi Tharoor making it a point that Puram should have been a venue. Akhilesh Yadav making the point that it is shameful that the government has not been able to salvage the reputation of our country because it was a complete mismanagement as far as the pollution issue is concerned.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Pallavi. With that, we are shifting our focus. We are, in fact, now getting some breaking piece of information. We're learning that actor Nidhhi Agerwal, who participated at the Prabhas starrer Raja Saab's song launch event yesterday at the Lulu Mall in Hyderabad, is where, in fact, a crisis really happened, mob turning violent. After the event, the crowd was out of control and Nidhhi Agerwal ended up getting mobbed and even manhandled by several of her fans. And there, somehow, she managed to get out of the crowd. She was left severely worried because of the kind of large number of crowds that had gathered at that event at the Lulu Mall in Hyderabad. Crowds getting out of control. There you can see Nidhi trying to wade her way out of the crowd and finally reaching her car somehow. My colleague PV Ramanna joining us with the latest. Yes, PV. Ramanna, we do see how Nidhhi Agerwal was, in fact, left flustered. The kind of crowd that had assembled. What was there with the security? Why was there no member of the security or anybody from Nidhi's entourage there to get the actor out of the crowd? And how does this exactly happen? It was a planned event. How did the crowd manage to reach so close to the actor in this case?
Yeah, actually she has a proper security, and even there are the bouncers also for her personal security. In fact, after completion of that event, she was the Raja Saab song release event actually it is. So after completion of the event, with the help of the bouncers only, she is coming out and she is trying to get into the car. Meanwhile, the hundreds of people, actually thousands of people have attended for this particular function. And when while she is coming out, hundreds of her fans coming and they try to take selfies with her, in fact. So some people also, there is allegation is that some people have tried to touch her and some people have tried to create some problem to that particular actress. Even after having the proper security also, the gathering was very huge, gathering was very high. So they're unable to control that crowd, and meanwhile, she felt very uncomfortable. So based on that, even film fraternity, some of the film celebrities also earlier also they faced the same kind of problems. Even after that, they are not taking any proper security measures. That's what exactly allegation from the film fraternity. And moreover, there is some of the celebrities is making some discussion about this. Why people is doing this? Why people is when the celebrities coming to the events, why they are behaving making these kind of the nuisance over there? This is what exactly the new discussion in the X and other social media platforms, in fact. So as of now, Nidhi is safe after completion of, with the help of the bouncers and the local security. Finally, she get into the car and she came out of that place, and finally she is happy, and she is also comfortable as of now. Griha.
Right, absolutely, Ramanna. But when this event was announced, the proper mall security was not in place. There were no barricades really. There is a lot of questions that have been raised, because here we are also looking at very many of these events, like in the past, the Allu Arjun fiasco that we've already seen, and how that ended up being a major tragedy. And now we are seeing this.
Yeah, actually, there will be generally they will make these kind of film events organized by their local event managers and all. Of course, they will put every security arrangements, but unexpectedly some huge crowd will come because this Raja Saab is a Prabhas movie. He's a superstar actor in Telugu, and of course pan India star. For that, expecting his arrival, in fact, a lot of people came over there. And really, what happens when these big events happens, the proper security will be given to the big stars only. Like, of course, Nidhi Agerwal also one of the noted stars, but she was ignored. In fact, we can say like she was ignored. They will be having the proper security and they will go away. When these kind of people, Nidhi Agerwal, some other heroines or some other people will come, people will fans and the people will come for the selfies. They try to shake hand with them, and they try to take the photographs with them. These kind of the incidents will happen. Finally, these kind of uncomfortable situation, inappropriate situation will be should be faced by the actresses. So the film fraternity and the event managers also should take proper arrangement. These kind of these kind of events. Yeah.
Right, Ramanna, thank you so much for all of those details there. And on that note, we go into a very short break. News and updates continue on the broadcast.
News 18 network. India's largest news network.
All right, we have CNN News 18 exclusive input by Manoj Gupta. Indian agencies are set to join the Sydney investigation into the Bondi Beach shooter after sources revealed he visited India 3 to 4 years ago to meet his mother. A joint team of state police and central intelligence agencies likely to be sent to Australia to assist the local authorities. The probe will focus on the shooter's ideological leanings, possible online or extremist radicalization, and any link to global Islamist networks. That is the link that's being probed right now. Investigators are examining whether the attack was driven by organized anti-Jewish hatred or lone wolf radicalization influenced by international propaganda. Indian agencies are also checking digital footprints, financial trails, travel details in any possible contacts, sympathizers or sleeper networks in India. This is the latest that we are getting right now. As you know, the origins of the shooter are being probed also, and now Indian agencies will be helping Sydney because we're given to understand the perpetrator of this attack visited India about 3 to 4 years ago. Now, for more on this, we have Siddhant Mishra live with us. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk about this particular link that has emerged. We also have with us Anand Narasimhan. Anand, let me just come to you. Of course, there's this link that's being probed right now, also in that case of the Bondi Beach shooting. What's your assessment of where things stand right now?
Morning to our viewers and morning, Haim. And, this is going to be a matter of concern for the Indian agencies. And that's the reason why that along with the cops, there are also key officials of the central intelligence agencies who are going to be now actively cooperating with the Australian counterparts, because their interest would be to see where was this radicalization happening, or where was this network? Is it purely anti-Semitism, or is it a radical Islamist bent against all non-Muslims? So one will have to see. And what was the trigger? Were these people lone wolves? Who were these people being indoctrinated by or influenced by? What kind of messaging? What kind of messaging were they consuming? Who did they remain in touch with in Bharat? And are there others in Bharat who carry a similar sentiment? And would they be encouraged to do something like this father and son duo have done in Bondi Beach somewhere in Bharat? So there will be that aspect which the agencies will be very closely monitoring. They would also want to see out of the cooperation with Israel whether this network was spreading in Bharat, which has got an anti-Jewish sentiment, and could they be targeting Jewish establishments or Jewish people in Bharat itself? So there are multiple layers to which this organization, our agencies would be now looking at the antecedents, the connections, the consumption on social media or the platforms that influence them, beyond the remit of what comes under the Australian authorities, but they would want to learn, they would want to see. And if there are others who are present on Bharatiya soil with similar sentiments or perhaps similar mindset, then those people will be immediately under.
Many things have changed in the last 20 years, but our partnership with you only got stronger.
Political parties.
RTI enabled India's right to know.
System needs to become more transparent.
We saw terrorism's deadliest face.
This is a terror attack on Mumbai.
Visuals that will haunt Mumbai.
A crisis that plunged the nation in panic.
We are faced with a global slowdown.
A crime that shook 1.4 billion people.
Last bus rides for the girl who would come to be known as Nirbhaya.
We saw India becoming cricket champs after 28 years. The nation chose a strong new leader.
Narendra Damodar Das Modi.
Indian Army. India attacking terror on enemy soil.
Special forces crept behind enemy lines.
An invisible threat brought the nation to a standstill.
Not a single soul out here.
A space flight that filled every Indian with pride.
It was a very, 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 very special lift-off.
And only the G.
India taking its place among global leaders.
One Earth, one family, one future.
Time ticked on. The headlines kept changing. But we stood with you with the same energy, the same resolve. Celebrating 20 years of CNN News 18. Makes sense.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Griha. Let's now get you an exclusive news break where we have managed to access Election Commission data indicating a high number of voters with inconsistent records, and they, we are told, are in fact concentrated in 3 Bengal border districts, and this is what is being suggested. These are border districts. Murshidabad reporting the highest count of these inconsistent voters, we are told. In fact, Election Commission officials also ended up stating that these discrepancies are provisional and are expected to be addressed after the completion of hearings, following which the final draft of the electoral roll is going to be published. So this is what we are learning. Irregularities in 3 border districts in West Bengal, and the highest discrepancy has been noted from Murshidabad. These irregularities have come to note from districts like Murshidabad. Now, if we take a look at the 3 districts under the Election Commission's radar where the data has been deemed inconsistent, let's take a look at those very districts, beginning with Murshidabad. In fact, we'll just put out those graphics for our viewers in just a bit. We are learning that Murshidabad has a significant amount of voters, and we are going and talking about voters up to the tune of more than 4 lakh, and this is why these inconsistent data have been flagged. 4,07,065 voters have been noted out of Murshidabad. Remember, we're talking about a border district here. If we take a look further at South 24 Parganas, the voters have been recorded at 3,77,910 voters. This is from South 24 Parganas. Further, if we take a look at North 24 Parganas, the number of voters are 2 lakh, over 2 lakhs as per the Election Commission draft roll. So these are the 3 border areas where these concerns have been flagged from. Now, this is what is the concerning aspect, and let's take a look at the other set of graphics now, where we are in fact learning. If we take a look at these 3 areas, these 3 border areas of Murshidabad, North and South 24 Parganas, these are the areas of concern, and this is what has been flagged as far as the EC draft roll is concerned. So what is more problematic is the proximity of these